Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudhiraye Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9 and Text 42. Aham Atmanam Dhatuhu Dhataha. Aham Atmanam Dhataha Preshtaha San Preyasam Api Preshtaha San Preyasam Api Ataha Mayi Ratim Kuryad Ato Mayi Ratim Kuryad Deha Adibhihi Yatkrute Priyaha Dehadir Yatkrute Priyaha Aham Atmanam Dhataha Preshtaha San Preyasam Api Ato Mayi Ratim Kuryad Dehadir Yatkrute Priyaha Aham Atmanam Dhataha Preshtaha San Preyasam Api Ato Mayi Ratim Kurya Dehadir Krute Priyaha Aham, I am, Atma, the Supersoul, Atmanam, of all other souls, Dhataha, Director, Preshtaha, the dearest, Son, Being, Preyasam, of all dear things, Api, certainly, Ataha, therefore, Mayi, unto me, Ratim, attachment, Kurya, one should do, Deha Adibhi, Deha Adihi, the body and mind, Yat Krute, on whose account, Priyaha, very dear. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swamy Srila Prabhupada. Translation: I am the super soul of every individual. I am the supreme director and the dearest. People are wrongly attached to the gross and subtle bodies, but they should be attached to me only. Please repeat, I am the Supersoul of every individual. I am the Supreme Director and the dearest. People are wrongly attached to the gross and subtle bodies, but they should be attached to me only. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, is the dearest in both the conditioned and liberated states. When a person does not know that the Lord is the only dearmost object, then he is in the conditioned state of life, and when one knows perfectly well that the Lord is the only dearmost object, he is considered to be liberated. There are degrees of knowing one's relationship with the Lord depending on the degree of realization as to why the Supreme Lord is the dearmost object of every living being. The real reason is clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita. Mame Vamsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. The living entities are eternally parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. The living entity is called the Atma and the Lord is called the Paramatma. The living entity is called Brahman and the Lord is called the Parabrahman or the Parameshwara. Ishvara Paramaha Krishnaha. The conditioned souls who do not have self-realization accept the material body as the dearmost. The idea of the dearmost is then spread all over the body. Even the body of the most dear son is no longer attractive. Therefore, the living spark or eternal part of the Supreme is the real basis of affection and not the body. Because the living entities are also parts of the whole living entity, that Supreme living entity is the factual basis of affection for all. One who has forgotten the basic principle of his love for everything has only flickering love because he is in Maya. The more one is affected by the principle of Maya, the more he is detached from the basic principle of love. One cannot factually love anything unless he is fully developed in the loving service of the Lord. In the present verse, stress is given to focusing love upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word Kuryat is significant here. This means one must have it. It is just to stress that we must have more and more attachment to the principle of love. The influence of Maya is experienced by the part and parcel spiritual entity, but it cannot influence the Supreme Soul, Supersoul, the Paramatma. The Mayavadi philosophers, accepting the influence of Maya and the living entity, want to become one with the Paramatma. But because they have no actual love for Paramatma, they remain ever entrapped by the influence of Maya and are unable to approach the vicinity of Paramatma. This inability is due to their lack of affection for the Paramatma. A rich miser does not know how to utilize his wealth, and therefore, in spite of his being very rich, his miserly behavior keeps him everlastingly a poor man. On the other hand, a person who knows how to utilize wealth can quickly become a rich man even with a small credit balance. The eyes and the sun are very intimately related because without sunlight the eyes are unable to see. But the other parts of the body, being attached to the sun as a source of warmth, take more advantage of the sun than do the eyes. Without possessing affection for the sun, the eyes cannot bear the rays of the sun. Or in other words, such eyes have no capacity to understand the utility of the sun's rays. Similarly, the empiric philosophers, despite their theoretical knowledge of Brahman, cannot utilize the mercy of the Supreme Brahman because they lack affection. So many impersonal philosophers remain everlastingly under the influence of Maya. Although they indulge in theoretical knowledge of Brahman, they do not develop affection for Brahman, nor do they have any scope for development of affection because of their defective method. A devotee of the sun god, even though devoid of eyesight, can see the sun god as he is even from this planet, whereas one who is not a devotee of the sun cannot even bear the glaring sunlight. Similarly, by devotional service, even though one is not on the level of a jnani, one can see the personality of Godhead within himself due to his development of pure love. In all circumstances, one should try to develop love of Godhead, and that will solve all contending problems. Dasansta Bhaktivedanta Parpoto Madhyanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the concluding verses of the chapter, and the Lord heard the prayers of Brahma, and then he is concluding very important principles for our life. Here he is saying people are wrongly attached to gross and subtle bodies, whereas they are supposed to be attached to me only. Ato mayi ratin kuryad. So Prabhupada is stressing and subtle. Yat krute priyaha. They think they wrongly get attached to body and mind, body and subtle body. And then why we are supposed to have only attachment to him? Because I am aham atma atmanam dhataha. I am the Supersoul. I am the Atma of the Atma, all the Atmas. So he is Atma Atmanam. Dhataha means I am the director, and then Preshtaha, the dearest. Krishna is the most dearest. So Preyasam api, although he is the dearest, Preyasa, Preyasi, that means very dear. Ato mayi ratim kurya. So this is a very important shloka. The love of Godhead, the concept of love of Godhead is actually originally present in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And in the Bhagavatam you can see Lord is directly telling that yes, one should develop love only for him. So here, dehadi et krute priyaha. But then we are attached to the body, we are attached to the subtle body. This attachment has to be managed. In our day-to-day life, we should know how to manage the attachments towards body and the subtle body. Everybody in the conditioned state will have lot of attachments to bodies and the subtle body. That means mind, intelligence and ego. So while these attachments are not good for the living entity, it is not possible to directly come out of these attachments in one shot and then develop attachment to Krishna. So it's a gradual process, how to ensure that gradually the living entity becomes attached to Krishna. That is the process of Krishna consciousness, sadhana bhakti. So why is that attachment is not encouraged towards our body, towards the subtle body, towards this world? Any attachment to this world is also not encouraged. Why is that it is not encouraged? Let us say, we go to the prison. So to preach in the prison, let us say you go, and then you see that somebody is breaking stones, because they also have some work every day. They have to do certain things. Let us say is breaking stones, and then he gets attached to his work. Let us say every day he has to break stones. He's so attached. He's thinking, he's sleeping, he's dreaming about stones and breaking and making them into very nice pieces. This is what his thinking is. So when the devotee sees that, why is he getting attached to this? He has many other better things to do in the outside world. But then he is so attached that he doesn't want to. So in one shot, if you say you have to give this up, he will not do this. So similarly, whatever we get attached to in this world has no meaning. Your attachment to mobile, your attachment to some scenic pictures, your attachment to some enjoyments, attachment to various objects, it all has no meaning. It's like attachments inside a prison house. Let us say prison house, there are a lot of sceneries are there. There are waterfalls and some nice birds and this and that inside the prison. And let us say you get attached to all of them. Even that doesn't make sense. Because ultimately, this is not our actual place. So any attachment here has one danger. What is that? Again we have to remain here. Any attachment means we have to again remain here. That's the law of this world. Krishna is kind, he permits, okay, you are attached to these waterfalls, okay, stay here. So Prabhupada in one place he explains what this attachment does to us. He says, anything material, as soon as there is some attachment, it will kick you up on the face. That's the first thing that happens. It will kick you up on the face, then deteriorate and disappoint you. It's bound to dissatisfy and frustrate you. That's a fact. There's a ominous words from the Acharya. Anything that we get attached to, first thing is you will get kicks. And then it will deteriorate, and then finally it will disappoint. So it will only going to dissatisfy and frustrate. These are the words that Prabhupada is using. So you may say, Prabhu, I am just, let us say, I am getting used to my mobile or the social media or whatever. What are the kicks? I am happy. Where is the kick? Kick means, our understanding of kick is that somebody has to come and give a boom. Then that's the kick. Otherwise, I am okay, Prabhu. I am very happy. So, let us say one gets used to so much attached to mobile and this internet and social media. Actually, he keeps getting innumerable kicks day after day, but he doesn't realize. He gets a lot of kicks. For example, if somebody recently only in Apollo, one of the Apollo doctors, he has sent a tweet about one woman patient coming to him with some eye issues. And then that doctor is mentioning in the tweet, this particular disease is because she reads mobile in the night, in the dark. So, because of the too much of attachment, she cannot sleep. And then since she cannot sleep, then the next thing is that yes, I have to. Sleeping problem is also because of the mobile only. And then so she is addicted to seeing and watching and reading so many things while on the bed, and it's all dark. So she developed a very special eye problem. And then when she gone to the doctor, They had to do a special treatment, and then finally, she came out of the problem. Actually, we feel it's all natural, but actually it's a kick on the face. What you are using, it has given you a kick in the form of one disease. And then you have to spend so much money. 10th canto Bhagavatam says, these attachments are like thieves. They steal. They steal your money, they steal your time, they steal your energy. What are the resources that a living entity has? Particularly time and energy. And all these attachments will steal this. That's why when you go and say, please come to the temple or please chant Hare Krishna, they say, first thing that they say is, we don't have any time. See, now where is the time going on? The time is going for all these material attachments. We don't even realize that this is actually a kick on my face. The object to which I am got attached to, for what? I was thinking it is the source of enjoyment, pleasure. But it has become a source of disease, source of suffering. So you gone for pleasure, you got suffering. Isn't it a kick? So that's why Shastra is saying it is going to disappoint you. You'll be disappointed. Arey, my expectations are not fulfilled. Disappoint. So the first thing is, like this, there are so many kicks. But the humankind is not willing to see any of these kicks or any of these negative things. They are absorbed in some positive, rosy picture. They are absorbed in a rosy world, and they refuse to see anything that negative that comes. This is the tendency. Sometimes here and there some articles will come showing the truth, but they'll refuse to see. They say, no, we don't want to see, because it's a slap on their face. What they're thinking, it is not true. So that's why they refuse to see. So the attachment, any attachment, material attachment in this world is ultimately going to frustrate the living entity. So that's why Krishna is saying here, Dehadi atkrute priyaha. You are wrongly attached to this. You are wrongly attached. Then what is the real attachment? Mayi ratim kuriyat. Only unto me. Krishna is straightforward here. Only unto me. Only to Krishna. Directly to Krishna, not to Krishna's material external energy. Through energy attachment, no. That is not satisfying to Krishna. Directly Krishna. Attachment to Maya is also attachment to Krishna in one sense, but that's not Krishna is saying here. Don't get attached to my this material energy. Dehadi, that means the mind and the subtle body. So when the kick comes, sometimes these people think, oh, this is a interesting challenge, and we have to find a solution to this. They'll have seminars, meetings, and AC room. They'll sit and they pass policies. Now, what is that which is happening? They are attached to their subtle body. Intellectually, they have decided that this is actually nothing. This is not a kick that you are wrongly saying. It is natural. It is part of life. As some people, they say, death is coming means it's natural. It's part of life. It's end of life actually. It's not part of life. So people intellectualize and adjust. They want to adjust. This comes, adjust. This comes, adjust. Intellectually they want to adjust and remain. And Krishna is saying you cannot remain. Ashashvatam. That they don't want to see. They say, no. They don't want to believe this. So that's why it is important that we directly get attached to Krishna, not to his impersonal effulgence, not to his material energy, deha, adhi, subtle body, And these attachments will impact even us because we are sadhan bhaktas, sadhakas. Sometimes why am I not able to come for program, or not able to do japa? Then we think, no, I am not well. Intellectually we are convinced. Subtle body, you are attached to that conviction. That means you are attached to the subtle body. That's why Krishna is mentioning Deha, Di means gross and subtle body. If you are intellectually convinced, you will not be able to change. So then how to change? So Prabhupada is saying, in the conversations we have seen, my dependency is on Guru's order, that's all. If Guru is saying do this, and if you get attached to that order, then somehow we can find some solutions and then make it up. Otherwise, our mind will convince us that this is okay, this is not so bad, this kick is okay, this is okay, that is okay, like that. We'll try to adjust. Maya's one of the impact is like this only. Gradually, step by step, it will take away our bright consciousness, because we are trying to adjust to the whatever the situation is. So that is not is the what is advised here. Mai ratim kurya, only to me. Your adjustment, your whatever you may try to do, it all should increase ratim, attachment to Krishna. Ato mai ratim kurya. So this attachment of dehadhi is not easy to remove, just like that. In very special cases, like Katvanga Maharaj, in a fraction of a second he surrendered completely to Krishna. Obviously that's because his body and subtle body is already, it has fully ready for such surrenderance. But our body and mind and subtle bodies, they are not ready. Continuously the mind is thinking about our attachments, the previous attachments. Continuously it is pulling us towards those attachments. When we do japa, when we do service, when we do any of these things, what is the distraction? We say distraction. Where is it going? Distraction means it is going to some material attachments. Attachment to family, attachment to friends, attachment to job, attachment to this, attachment to that. All these attachments are pulling us. This is the issue. So that's why Krishna is very specifically stressing here, Mai ratim kurya, only to me. So then the Goswamis and the Acharyas, they know our difficulty. They know that we will not be able to in one shot divert our entire attachment and affection suddenly towards Krishna. That's why this sadhana bhakti has been given. What is this sadhana bhakti? One important principle is there in the sadhana bhakti. The Prabhupada's or the Acharya's thinking is, okay, you are attached to this something. Using that attachment, how you can come to Krishna? This is what they have strategized. This is the science. Okay, you're all attached to something. Let us say that stone breaker is a stone breaking. So much attached. And at the end he is going to get some 10 rupees. He is attached to the 10 rupees and the breaking. Now how to divert his attention towards Krishna? Through his karma, you are trying to divert his attention to Krishna. That is called karma yoga. So what the karma yoga says is, okay, he is very much attached to this 10 rupees. He will say, okay, you give 1 rupee to Krishna. Start with that. Actually it is 50%, 5 rupees he has to give. But at least start giving something to Krishna. His attachment is so much in this that at least little like this, Krishna. He will see Krishna. So this is somebody is attached to knowledge, intellectual exercises and philosophy and this and that, and then through that how we can bring him to Krishna, that is Jnana Yoga. You instead of doing your own useless analysis, you analyze Krishna's words, Krishna's pastimes. The tendency to analyze and accumulate knowledge and then become very learned and scholarly and all that, yes, use it in Krishna's service. Krishna says, if somebody reads Bhagavad Gita, he is worshipping me by intelligence. So let us worship Krishna by intelligence. Your subtle body, you offer it to Krishna. Think of Krishna, use your intelligence for Krishna, use your ego for Krishna, that I am servant of Krishna. This is, directly Krishna, Mayratim. So the acharyas have given strategies, the techniques for diverting our attachments directly to Krishna. So this is very important. So that's why Prabhupada summarizes in the end. Of course, it's a long purport, there are many points. He summarizes in the end, in all circumstances, one should try to develop love of Godhead. In all circumstances. And that will solve all contending problems. So, we will face innumerable circumstances in our life. Sometimes contending problems, opposing each other, so many issues. So then Prabhupada is saying, in all circumstances our mood should be, how can I use this to develop my love for Krishna? Mai ratim kuryat. It could be a very bad situation, positive situation, or it could be this issue or that issue. I may be angry, I may be resentful, I may be this thing, that thing. So many things can happen. In the subtle body can create all kinds of illusions. So subtle body and gross body, whatever they create, let us say, the devotee is thinking on how I can use it for Krishna's service. That's all. If he thinks this much, that how I can use it for Krishna's service. My Lord, this is what I have produced in my body. This is the force. Now how I can use this in order to develop attachment for you? If you can at least ask this, then very nicely he will progress. He will get answers. He will approach his seniors. He will approach Guru. He will approach Krishna. And then he will be able to dovetail all such forces in Krishna's service. Everything can be utilized in Krishna's service. So that's why it's a very nice statement Prabhupada is saying. In all circumstances, one should try to develop love of Godhead only. He should develop love. Love for Krishna. His pure devotee Prabhupada, and Prabhupada's devotee is Vaishnavas. Vaishnava Seva, Guru Seva, Krishna Seva, Krishna service. If one develops attachment to this, automatically he gives up attachment to Dehadir Yatkrute Priyaha. He gives up attachment to all the other things like Deha and Adi. Any questions? Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
హరే కృష్ణ గోల్డెన్ టెంపుల్ వారి మరో అపురూప కానుక హరే కృష్ణ వాణి ఆధ్యాత్మిక మాసపత్రిక. ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యాప్ ద్వారా కూడా సులభంగా పత్రికలు చదువుకునే సౌకర్యం, వార్షిక సభ్యత్వం, భగవద్గీత, భాగవత ప్రవచనాలు, స్ఫూర్తి సందేశాలు, ఇంకా మరెన్నో సదుపాయాలతో హరే కృష్ణ వాణి మొబైల్ యాప్ నేడే డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. మరిన్ని వివరాల కోసం కాల్ చేయండి 9133107700.